Hello everyone, you are watching Naresh IAS Academy YouTube channel and I am working on General Studies question paper 1 for IAS mains exam. According to syllabus, I will complete the entire syllabus through the 20 videos and I have already completed General Studies question paper 2 for IAS mains exam through the 20 videos, and all the videos have been uploaded on the YouTube channel. So you may take help from there, and remaining part in depth you may take from our website. And this is my effort to provide a concrete information and right way for preparation. And I will cover the General Studies question paper 1 again in the 20 videos. You may contact for offline classes and we cover the each General Studies paper within the 20 days, and you may be a part of our answer writing session too. Simply this is my effort how to provide a guidance and just like a crash course facility. Simply every students search there shall be a person who will provide information in depth and short, so that we can take complete preparation regarding the all the 4 general studies question paper and the optional history or the essay writing papers. So I am working in the direction, so you may take help. Today's our topic is the British policies, and this is the 5th video on the General Studies question paper 1. Again the important topic. Simply UPSC have mentioned in short, and this is my effort to explain the different dimensions of the syllabus. British policies, so I have to understand from the middle of 18th century. This line have been mentioned in the syllabus, middle of the 18th century. It means we have to trace the incident after the 750, okay. This is the landmark. And in this topic, I will explain how India became the British colony, what economic philosophy of process led by the East India Company to turn India their colony. So this is our topic, the colonial India, or how India made the British colony. Second, impact of the British economic policy. Simply I am taking only the economic aspect of these policies only, the economic aspect of the policies, okay. So then you should analyze the topic in this way. First you have to mention India became a British colony when the East India Company started trade commerce with India, and first they started trade commerce from the eastern coast and they moved towards the western coast and they settled at the Surat, Gujarat, and they started their trade commerce after getting permission from the contemporary Mughal Emperor Jahangir, you know. To understand how India became the British colony, so then we can draw a Indian map and it will exactly explain nature of this, okay. So first you have to discuss the British military policy, how the East India Company led the military campaign and why the company gave emphasis over the military conquest of India. So this was the principal factor for converting India under the British domination. And now you have to write this in a systematic way. So how can we trace this in a systematic way? You know, the East India Company first targeted the Eastern India, the Bengal province, and they started conquering India from the eastern side. First, the Battle of Plassey, landmark. Then the 1764, this was the Battle of Buxar. So after getting entry into the Bengal province, then now they targeted the South India and they defeated the Mysore states, where the Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan both were defeated. Finally, the Mysore Empire was conquered in 1799, and then they targeted the Maratha Empire, and Maratha Empire they ended into the 1818, and then they finally targeted the Punjab province. After the Maharaja Ranjit Singh, East India Company or the British government defeated the Punjab army and acquired the Punjab in 1849 and merged into the British Empire. So this is the first manner to convert India as the British colony. So you have to trace systematically one by one. Second, what economic philosophy was backing for British government? Now you have to trace the economic philosophy, because without the economic philosophy, the political or military campaigns never be succeed. Definitely this was backing, or we can say the hidden part, the invisible hand behind the military policy. In this manner, we can explain the three kinds of economic policies or the economic philosophies. One, the philosophy of mercantilism. Just after the victory of Plassey 1757 to 1813, and in this phase, East India Company now targeted to acquire the raw materials in the form of cottons and the raw minerals, and simply company, when collected much of the raw materials, it was exported to England and the other country, and through which company got maximum economic benefits. And at the same time, you know, England was running under the industrial revolution. So the mercantilism phase became an important plus for the British industrial policy, providing the raw materials for converting the manufacturing goods. Okay. Second phase, just after the 1813, and this philosophy is known as age of free markets system or the open market policy. And in this phase, along with the East India Company, most of commercial company of England or the individuals were allowed to enter India, and this was a large economic raid over the Indian economy, and India was looted at large by the English peoples, and soon India became country just like there was no industry or the industrial basis, because most of companies or individuals when acquire the raw materials, and Indian manufacturer also depends upon the raw materials, and due to the absence of this raw materials and the immediately breakdown of the supply, and this was a great loss for the manufacturers of India. And the third phase we can trace just after the 1860, when India was looted at a large scale. Some of the European or British economists now made a different philosophy to investment in India for the exploitation at a long, and that's why this is called the phase of financial investment or the financial capitalism, and British government now started to invest in the different sectors. However, this phase was started in the earlier time, but just after the 1860 it got the speed and now it became rapidly. For example, East India Company first invest in the coal minings and the coal industry in 1774, first from the Raniganj of at the border of Jharkhand and West Bengal, but now in West Bengal region. Okay. Then they targeted the foundation of banking and insurance. 1806, the Bank of Kolkata, the first presidency bank. Then Bank of Bombay, 1840, 1843, the Bank of Madras. Then they established the modern aluminium, steel or the copper plant, just like a first steel plant at Kulti, West Bengal, the 1870. And earlier they started the railway in 1853 from Maharashtra, and before this they ran the transport railway in Madras region during the 1835 and 36. The cotton industry, jute industry, pharmaceutical industries and the irrigation projects in the different sectors. Now East India Company invested and to revive the Indian economy, and again India was stood for the new form of the exploitation. So we can conclude that India became British colony through military policy and the economic philosophy. Economic philosophy was working for the military or the political conquest. Okay, so this is the phase 1 of the British economic policy. Second, now we have to discuss the long lasting impact of the British economic policies. This is a broad topic. Simply I will discuss only 2 or 3 points here. One was, some of the Indian or British historians agreed that the British policies led to the transfer or drain of resources from India to England, and technically this is called the drain of wealth by the Dadabhai Nauroji. Okay, the drain of wealth by Dadabhai Nauroji during the mid of 19th century. Then UPSC may ask questions anytime from this topic. So what do you mean by the drain of wealth, and what was the nature of drain of wealth? And it was started just after the 1757. Initially it was in the form of raw materials, and then the cash payments and the counter investment for the British capitalist class and the higher salaries, allowances for the British official, expenses of British Indian Army, and the charges of home charges of the Secretary of States for India who resides in the London. So then drain of wealth theory you can trace in detail, but some historians or scholars along with stated that it was not simply a drain of wealth only. Along with, we found the British government now emphasize over the investment for the revival of Indian economy. Definitely, just I have discussed here in this phase how the British government started the modern steel, aluminium, copper plants, the first pharmaceutical or chemical plants in India. British government introduced railway first, and they introduced the banking sectors, insurance sectors, the cotton industries, jute industry, the cement industries, so many the irrigation projects, construction of the big dams, and the power generation, and the mining sector they gave priorities. So that when you will writing your answer, definitely you have to balance. If absolutely or one-sided you will write this was simply a drain of wealth, the economic impact of the, then examiner never will agreed with you, and definitely he will deduct your marks. So we have to balance this. Second, we can say this was the destruction of the handicraft sectors of India. Handicraft sector, handicrafts includes the artisanal industry in which peoples of India have expertise and a handful of skills through which they manufacture the cotton, silk and the woolen clothes and textiles and the things of wooden and different kinds of metals and terracotta. So many things we can include in the handicraft. Is a loose term. And you know, from the ancient time to the modern time, Indian handicraft industry or mainly the cotton textile were the important part in the global economy that time. And the modern studies have shown this. The Indian handicrafts or cotton industries have 25% of total world economy that time. So you can say India was a world guru or the world leader in the economic sector. But due to the British policies, how India became colony and how India lost its global markets, or still we are trying to getting 2 or 2.5% share in the global economy only. So definitely the past, before arrival of the Britishers, India had the glorious past. So now you have to trace the causes who made the handicraft industries in the ruined state or the demolishing condition. First, Indian handicrafts industry depends upon the raw material. What the East India Company or British official acquired, they made monopoly over the raw materials, and this was the breakdown of supplies of raw material to the handicraft sector. One factor. Second, the manufacturing sectors or the manufacturing goods, Indians export to England and other countries. Now it was immediately shut down due to the high tariff rates. East India Company imposed 70 to 80% tariff rate, and Indian products made too much higher due to the taxes, and they wither away from the global markets, and they did not stood in the competition race due to the economic analysis, or we can say this was a great economic loss to the handicraft industry. The third factor was the Indian artisans working in the handicraft sector, they were bound or forced to quit their own working and to join the British factories or karkhana in India. And next was, there was a relationship between Indian handicrafts and the agriculture sector, and this relationship was immediately break down, and because this was the forward or backward linkage. So many causes we can trace here. And last, one more points I want to discuss, the impact of British economic policy on the agriculture sector. Simply, I will indicate some points. For detailing, you may contact for our website videos for these. Agriculture sector was brought under the British policies. First, the British government changed the ownership in the land. Who was the owner of the agricultural land before the Britishers? Now it was changed under the different land tenure policies, right? Second, Indian agriculture sector was overcrowded. When the handicraft sectors was destroyed, then peoples working in this sector, now they migrated from urban area to the agriculture sector, and this was the overcrowded. Or third, the rate of land revenue was too much higher, and that's why Indian peasants were not able to pay the regularly or annually this lagan, and these all resulted into the weaker position of Indian farmer, and Indian farmer now slow down into the poverty section. Finally, he was underwent into the starvation, and for the payment of British annual lagan, he had to borrow some money from the moneylenders, and it made him the it kept him into the indebtedness. Then the poverty and the indebtedness of the Indian farmers, this was the major impact over the agriculture sector. And till the independence, more than 90% Indian farmers were under the trap of indebtedness, and they were in very misery condition, and they were in a poor conditions. And after the independence, when government of India analyzed and they made so many commissions or committees to study, then government introduced the some beneficial schemes for them. So we can say what kind of challenges or threats our agriculture sector now is facing. This has a large portion of the British economic policies. Okay, thank you.